throughout these 5 years of me doing piercings, I've had a lot of experiences. I've had a lot of heartbreak, a lot of growth. I've lost a lot of people along the way, friendship, lovers. I've learned a lot. Throughout all of that, the one thing that I never let go of, and the one thing that kind of kept me grounded, and the one thing that I just wanted so bad was piercing. Hi, my name is Brittany. A lot of people call me Glory because I'm Glory Piercings. I'm 23 years old and I am born and raised in DC. The piercing community has treated me very well. I feel like at the start of this journey, I started with basically nothing. You know, the way I even got into piercings was me piercing an old lover's second lobe with a safety pin, and once I did that, it like unlocked something in my brain. I was like, wait, like I can do this on other people. It feels more than comfortable. It feels correct. I feel like piercing has a lot of history, and a lot of history comes from our ancestors, African and indigenous ancestors. Me existing as who I am is a connection to that history. Nobody in this line of work really looks like me. You know, if you go to like any major tattoo or piercing shop in Maryland or DC, it's very rare to see a woman of color doing piercings. And when I realized that, it was kind of just like, well, I'm gonna be one. I'm gonna be the thing that doesn't exist. Yeah. Piercing is a conscious decision made by an individual to modify their body to self-express themselves, feel closer to themselves, feel more confident, feel more pretty, more handsome, just more like themselves. When somebody steps into my room to get a piercing from me, I feel like they're putting themselves in a very, very vulnerable state. I am putting pain onto their body, so consent is important in that atmosphere. Consent makes people feel safe. Consent makes people feel heard. Good job. Blowing out. Perfect. Alright, the needle is in. I'm gonna put in your jewelry now. Feel okay?
That wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be, honestly.
The beauty in piercing, specifically with pain, I feel like I love the quote, pain is so close to pleasure. What really opened up my eyes to the relationship between like humans and pain and the body was when I started doing play piercings. And when I first did that, I got a lot of different reactions from people. A lot of people were like, why would anybody ever do that? Or what is the point if you're gonna take them out? And as I started doing more play piercings, and I even got one done on myself, I realized how cathartic and meditative voluntarily putting your body in pain can be. I think it'll be a while before we see people of color with piercings in like mainstream media, which sucks. But hey, if anybody out there wants to create something, I think they should create that. Like a movie, a show, anything for the public to consume with people of color who have piercings and tattoos. Yeah.
You have to be like very privileged to just straight up do this. It took me 10 years to get here, and 10 years for somebody else in a community that's a little bit more like welcoming and open 10 years is a whole different like level of like successful, you know.
My name is Lee McCann. My pronouns are they, them, and I pierce in Richmond, Virginia.
I wasn't like as super out as I am now, because it's difficult. I think there was one time when I was working, you had to do like cashier, so I was working with a piercer, and he said something, I can't remember what it was, but it was something transphobic, and I was like, you know, you can't just say that to like people. It's like kind of, it's a gross feeling, I would say, because piercing is rooted in Western civilization, like, not civilization, Western like culture. It's rooted in queer gay community. Like, that's where it started. Before that, it was like indigenous people, you know? So it's the same thing even with tattooing. It's a bunch of like white dudes. And it just, everyone in the community knows that it's an issue, but it still remains an issue. I want to feel like people aren't afraid to go somewhere, and I want there to be more places that people aren't afraid to go to for whatever reason. I do think as a business owner, especially climate right now, I've been heavily considering just like taking everything like queer related like off my website and stuff like that. I don't want to do that though, because I want to be like safe place for people to go that they know is safe, but like I know I don't get as much business. I know. I would rather though risk my safety to know that my clients feel safe. Yeah. I think that's the biggest like struggle for me in that sense. I don't want to be in that environment where I have to like put myself down or like not stick up for somebody or something like that, you know? So it is something that I choose. Hopefully I can continue to choose to do this. If I ever had to move, that would be something that I would consider, but again, I love being here, I love my clients, and I don't wanna not be there for so many people that I have like made this for, you know. For me, piercing is, it's a service I provide to the community that's a healing service, and it's not really, it is an aesthetic thing, but it's so much more than that. I help people through stuff, even if it's just breathing or if it's like something traumatic that they're getting over, you know what I mean? So it's what I can do to help people, and I like doing it.
It definitely sucks to see people discriminated against for things that don't even matter in their artistry. You know, like a black person can create traditional just as good as a white person can or anybody else. I feel like it just sucks to be excluded from something because of things that you can't control or things that you didn't choose in your own life, you know? Like, I didn't choose to be black, so why are you discriminating against me in a tattoo aspect? You know, it has nothing to do with tattooing. Anybody can do it. If you're passionate enough, I think that's all it should come down to, is passion. Hi, my name is Slip, or Big Slip, or High Lord Slip, or however you want to call me. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm from the good old city of Norfolk, Virginia. I feel like tattooing is so magical. It helps people feel more comfortable in their bodies. You know, it makes them feel cooler. Like, they have conversation pieces. You know, you can go get tattooed by the most famous person in the world and, you know, show it off to people that know it. It's kind of like a if you know type of deal, especially with traditional tattooing, because it's very much of a name game. Like, oh, I got tattooed by this person or this person. So I feel like it's a big form of self-expression. I think that's super important. I think representation's always important, just for the fact of like you being able to see somebody that's similar to you that's doing it. I guess it's like a motivation sort of thing. Like, if they can do it, I can do it type of deal. But if you don't see anybody that's like you there, you know, that whole motivation aspect is gone. I mean, of course, it's still doable, but it's a lot easier on the mind to see somebody actively doing it that's similar to you. That kind of gives you a sense of hope. You know, we have less opportunities than the counterpart, you know, but also on top of that, I feel like there's a disconnect with the education too. Because now it gets to a point where, you know, the black people are teaching the black people and the white people are teaching the white people. The information that the white people have had and have been passed down to them, you know, through tattoo generation, we're not going to get that unless we're under them, you know? So, like, us not being apprenticed by the white person inadvertently gives us a disadvantage because we don't have the generations of knowledge that they have. We're just passing down what we teach ourselves and, you know, what we share with each other. There's not many of us, even in the whole country. Like, there's not a whole lot of black people doing just straight up traditional. So, like, bringing my portfolio in different shops and stuff like that and having people look at it, you kind of get the vibe that they didn't really take me serious. So I definitely feel like I had to put forth a lot more effort than my white peers or anything like that. I care about being accessible to my community. You know, I'm from Norfolk, and we're obviously not the most wealthy people in the world. So I think just, you know, keeping prices accessible to everybody and cultivating a space that's accessible to everybody. I feel like all I can do is just be here for my people.